after voting ends. Only Acta can know the results, and he seems surprised. The results are a bit surprising, but everyone can disperse anyway. We will act according to the results. Just knowing that is enough. Look at Acta's surprised expression. Yuwon also partly guessed the result. He breathed a sigh of relief and turned back to his old self. After arriving at the zombie gathering point, ask Ju-won how the result is. Just wait for that. Ju-won smiled brightly like a flower. Of course, I have proven that I am worth 2 billion. On the other side, Winhem woke up and didn't remember anything. But he still confirmed to the escort that participated in the meeting and voted. Something he regrets now. I didn't have time to ask for a letter from the girl yesterday. The escort spoke up after thinking for a long time. Hey YM, please give it to me. List of all the people you invited yesterday. Looks like he found out. Something is wrong. The next day, Ju-won returned to her old house to clean up her things. Because you need to pretend to be a loser for a while longer. So you need to bring it along. Necessary supplies. Haste seemed dissatisfied. But I have to accept it. While cleaning out the closet, Ju-won accidentally found the family photo. He had always wondered where it had gone. But I didn't expect it to be here. Looking back at the old photo, Ju-won suddenly fell into contemplation. Your sister will be very happy. If I knew my brother would become just TC. Ju-won is about to take out the photo to put it away. Then you accidentally used too much force. Broken photo frame. The photo then fell under the bed. To get the photo out. So Ju-won plans to lift the bed a little. But what the heck? He just gave it a light push. But the bed flew up to the roof. Ju-won was stunned right now. But it's clear that he hasn't turned into just Tice yet. After returning to Justice's apartment, Ju-won immediately told the zombie what I just went through. To prove, Ju-won picked up the metal fountain pen and easily crushed into pieces with 2 fingers. Witnessing this scene, the zombie came to a conclusion. Looks like you're using Justice's power. Unconsciously. Or the power activates itself. Strength is like a muscle. The more you use it, the more they are, the stronger they are. Even more so for a rookie. Initial. You think you just copied his power. Isn't that heroic? It may have higher potential than we expected. Although I really want to check more. But now Ju-won needs to focus on the mission. Before his eyes, he transformed into Justice. Then begins the important meeting. Because Acta has to go away on business. So this meeting will take place online. Just starting, Nivil spoke first. Let's get started. Anyway, there's only one problem today. Right? But it seems like we've discussed it before. At this moment Acta interrupted about that. Union will defend the defender's position. Nivea was extremely surprised and shouted something. But why so suddenly? Acta immediately explained. As you may know, we decide by voting. The voting results are, we should focus on hunting down the bad guys. Remain as leader. I will respect opinions from team members. Nivo appeared extremely bitter at this opinion. He thought he could capture the guards. In the palm of your hand. At this time, Zeus, who was fighting crime, also spoke up. Nivo, I really don't understand. Why are you against catching criminals? Is there any reason for you to object? After hearing this, Nivo shouted loudly. We have destroyed the criminal base. During the war. Final. This is just a waste of our human resources. Ju-won only spoke up now. I don't think that's right. It seems the number has decreased significantly. But soon more criminals will appear again. Even though their commander disappeared. But uproot it. It's a way to avoid any trouble in the future. Others agreed with this opinion. And turned to criticize Nivo. Even though Nivo was very bitter, she didn't know how to argue back. At this moment it's all over and it's gone. If everyone has agreed, then what can we do? Anyway, cleaning up criminals is also good for us. We cannot win votes. As villains. So this time around, we will follow the defender's stance. And so the meeting ended successfully. Thanks to the espionage plan that people, security can still continue to operate. Yu-1 then returned home with the zombies. Clean up the mess you caused. The ceiling had a large hole in it, and the bed was completely broken. Yu-1 will have to spend money to fix this. But you're rich now, so you don't need to worry. When zombies are about to leave, then suddenly a stranger was discovered standing in front of the door. That was the YM's escort at the party. I recognize her. She is a hero. Yumi comes from the Guardians, right? I don't think that they'll meet you in a place like this. Even though he smiled brightly. But Yumi did not show any joy when meeting him. I just came to see someone I know. What business do you have here, Scelo? Scelo suddenly became serious. Someone she knew was heroic. Li Yu-1 is 23 years old. You have the ability to copy others, right? Jugol was startled when he saw his information exposed. At this time, Scelo continued smiling. An interesting power. But I just don't understand one thing. Why did you come to the party yesterday? Yu-1 immediately denied. I don't understand what you are saying. But Stylisto immediately interrupted. Don't stubbornly deny it. I watched the surveillance camera footage nearby. He approached Winhem, with the appearance of a woman, and left a while later. The scene returned was very clear. Ju-1 hasn't considered this yet. He had no other choice, except think of a reason. You understand me, which I'm actually a fan of Winhem. So I wanted to cause him a little trouble. But no one would believe such a clumsy reason like this. What should I say about your shameless boasting? So annoying. He turned into a girl to cause trouble for YM. Then who are you trying to cause trouble for? By turning into just TC. I'm not sure, but I have an interesting theory. The atmosphere immediately became tense. Scelo pulled out one of his teeth. Then throw it forward. Ju-1 still doesn't understand what's going on. Then Yumi was imprisoned by a giant tooth. The purpose of the current Scelo is moi. All necessary information from Ju-1's mouth. Even killing people if necessary. He grew a bone. Both large and pointed from the palm of the hand to use as a weapon. Zu-1 was confused and shouted loudly. What are you doing? Scelo did not rush to attack but calmly explained. I said I need to confirm a few things. I think Justicey has been acting quite strange lately. He revealed the assassination, but something was still strange. And now Justice's neighbor, Yumi, is traveling with a shapeshifter. He is really suspicious. As soon as he withdrew his words, Saberto rushed forward with murderous intent. He really thought about killing Young-1 here. So aim for the critical points. Fortunately, in recent days, Jun-Yu constantly fights. You should practice a little reflexes. Don't know that these days. He almost flew off his head several times. Why these heroes? You keep messing with my life. Scelo was still talking continuously. I think you impersonated Justicey, right? Ju-1 is completely mad. His whole body exuded enormous power. Without having to transform. Justicey sounds like shit. Scelo was a bit surprised by this power. But he still has no intention of leaving. Oh, I don't think you will easily reveal the truth. They'll make you tell me everything he radiates. Intense killing intent. The other hand also grew a bone. After clearly confirming the opponent's capabilities, Ju-1 has made a decision. The assassination in China may not have been his doing. Then it's not a problem. If I obediently admit it, then my 2 billion will go up in smoke. Junu did not hesitate and rushed to attack. But your fist. Again, Scelo knocked it out easily. NDT-0 is strong but has a lot of flaws. You're using Justini's power to stop me. With those tricks. Why are you so complacent? If you continue to use your power, in a weak way, to hide it, then you're definitely dead. Scaberto had no intention of raising his hand, but aimed straight at Ju-1's head. Ju-1 though was able to block it with both hands. But he was pressed to the ground. Cannot move. In a dangerous situation. He tried to use his legs to attack his opponent to escape. Yu-Won then quickly grabbed the opponent's wrists. With hope, we'll block attacks from two sharp bones. Saberto is still very calm at this time. Instead of calling it hiding power, it seems like you don't know how to express it. The body is weak, so it craves strength. It may want to be majestic to lead others. Power is related to human desires. Can't believe it. He used his power thoughtlessly, without such basic knowledge. Don't you see that power is being wasted? You think stopping me from using the bones in my hand is enough? That's not the only place to attack. He just finished speaking. Two giant bones growing out of two elbows. Head straight for Ju-Won's head. But Skewer Ju-Won has no other choice, besides letting go and dodging the attack. But he quickly hugged Saberto. Then rush forward. Don't give your opponent time to react. Ju-Won grabbed his head and hit his knee hard. But because the opponent has spiked armor, so the injured person was you. You know what is the hardest part of human bones? No, the answer is the skull. Scelo created a sturdy bone mask. Covers the entire face. So there was no injury at all. And Ju-Won is holding her thigh in pain. He has a wound on his face. Maybe he's been telling the truth for now. Now I'm just struggling to avoid getting caught. While I just thought it was bad luck. But myself. The person cannot do anything. And will give up even at the slightest difficulty. I hated myself so much. Until I get this power. So what the hell am I doing? Jung-won was busy thinking. So much so that the Serato immediately approached the body. But he didn't realize it. Only when he spoke did he wake up. Although Juna's body is stronger than before. But victory is impossible. There is only one way that can be used right now. Jung-won used all his strength to punch forward. Serato not only avoided this attack, but also close to the sharp bone on Jung-won's neck. But Jun-won's goal from the beginning. It's not him. It's about freeing the imprisoned zombies. If we don't have a solo, well, just fight as a group. Zombie just escaped. Then immediately control the ball and tie up Saberto. Thanks for the advice. But for locking me in that sticky tooth. I'm annoyed. So prepare yourself, Bone Man. After a while of struggling with no results. Serato has calmed down, it turns out. So you really know how to trick others, don't you? But I told you already, right? They don't work on my hands. He grew out. Two sharp bones tore through the zombie's shadow. Then rushed to attack. Immediately the zombie is not passively defended, but choose to actively attack. She controlled the shadow to turn into contact. Get sharp and attack from afar. But these didn't cause any significant damage to Stylisto. He broke his bones and threw them forward. Luckily the zombies were able to avoid it. A hole has been punched. Stylisto took that opportunity to approach and pounce on the zombie. But it didn't work. Zombies have crawled into the shadow and flashed back. Both of them were giving each other an eye for an eye, no one willing to give in to the other. Witness the battle of professionals, making Ju-won gasp in surprise. How wonderful! They are all equally talented. After a while of arguing, Scaberto slowed down his attack and thought about his countermeasures. When calculating the attack style of the middle eyelashes, he came up with a plan to deal with it. Stylisto pulled out two teeth and threw them at the zombie. Just like last time, the two teeth exploded and then flew to prepare the bag. Covers the target. But how can one move hit twice? Zombie used the shadow. Deviation of the orbit of two teeth. But now Skyliso had disappeared from her sight. By the time she realized it, he was already approaching. Prepare to attack. Even though Chomi tried to use the ball to defend. But it was too late. She took both knees to the body and was sent flying away. Skyliso didn't stop there and continued to rush forward. Zombie just landed. Then he used his tentacles to stab the opponent straight in the body. But, unfortunately, all tentacles were blocked by bones. Scaberto slashed each tentacle. Then the gang moved forward. Zombie now thinks of a new move and applies it. Right away, she gathered the shadow into a giant beast. with sharp teeth biting and tearing the opponent. She thought she had solved her opponent. But things are not that easy. Scaberto took advantage of the dust and smoke of the impact, and went around behind Yumi, when he was about to strike. Then Chomi suddenly spoke up. "Stop it, we're the same." Scaberto also realized now. My neck is about to be pierced from behind. Should decide. Stop until you see that, then continue. Can you stop yet? Anyway, you didn't mean to attack me. Was that right before when you threw your teeth at me? You could have thrown at us, but you missed on purpose. That's enough fighting. Tell me what your plot is. Scaberto calmly replied. This is just previous speculation. But assassination plot that Jusk announced at the meeting. Hero is clearly 7 defeats. But Jusk was assassinated. This is the video of him turning into Jusk. I had a hard time finding it. If it is disclosed, the replacement between TC will also appear immediately. As soon as he finished speaking, Stylisto destroyed the USB. Right away. But I think siding with the two of them is also very rude. We are the same. I can be a member of the union. But I'm the same as you.
Aspi from Enknor.
Right now the Guardians and Alcondo. Being left behind by Union and Uberman. But they care more about profits. Is to destroy criminals. So I infiltrated the union. To create chaos from within. I need my teammates to help me plan. And will not betray. Yes, we will go in union and reverse the situation. The enemy fought to the death all day long. Turns out they are comrades with the same vision. Zombie heard it but still couldn't believe it. How can I be sure? That's all the evidence you have. What if he turns around? Serato smiled and shrugged his shoulders, looking careless. Believe me or not is your choice. But I like your ability. It will be used for many things. If you don't want it, you can refuse. But I still have work to do at the union. If you're not on my side, then you will have to confront me. And I'm sure you two won't be able to beat me. Before this threat, Yumi just thought he was too confident. She believes she can win. If you fight seriously. Ju-won then said, wait a minute. Do you understand the situation clearly? I am a replacement for Jusk. So I have to find the suspect who killed him. And if you follow us, maybe you will get caught up in this too. I mean, I don't care about that. When Stylisto heard about this, he seemed excited. That's right, and then I will be able to kill the evil guy who murdered TC, right? Sounds like a stable voltage. Those guys from the boat are really a bunch of crazy people. But that's also why Ju-won feels she can trust this person. After clearly stating the views of both sides, Scaberto immediately asked the two people about their final decision. Zombie and Ju-won looked at each other hesitantly. Both of them understand the difficult situation right now. After a moment of thinking, Ju-won went up and asked, then talked for a bit. Do you have any plans?
Scaberto now smiled dangerously.
The next day at Union headquarters, Ju-won successfully passed the door. Thanks to his fake hero status, he worked hard. Last night, Ju-won was quite overwhelmed with the scenery here. It's completely different from where the guards are. Here people dress normally, and it looks very comfortable. At this moment, the zombie spoke up to explain. That's because the Union is a trade-oriented group. So there is no specific dress code. Seeing zombies in civilian clothes, making Ju-won's eyes glued to her. I just want to say that you are really beautiful. Yumi suddenly blushed when she was complimented. Suddenly talking nonsense and nonsense. What's wrong? It's disgusting. Ju-won hastily explained. Meaning she always looks gloomy. I also felt unusual, so I couldn't control it. Zombie blushed brightly. Urged Ju-won to follow to change the subject. On the go, Ju-won suddenly recognized a famous food streamer. Sign up for fans. Looks like she's about to become a hero. To increase the number of followers. Advantage Field. It's truly a place where heroes go to do business. At this time, Scaberto happily came to welcome the two people. The three then discussed the plan in a safe place. At first glance, this plan seems fine. The three people will increase their popularity in the union. To be able to participate in voting. Here experience and talent are not important. As long as it can attract everyone's attention. Is it okay for Ju-won to wonder now? But Yumi comes from the Guardians. And she will certainly be suspected. How can he gain popularity for her in the union? Scaberto just smiled and said there would be a way. At a classroom. Professional hero. Teaching new recruits. Everyone already knows our capacity based. On apparition. Based on apparition. You can use your abilities in many ways. But sometimes the manifestation will not go in the right direction. Usually, this will happen when the ability just appears. Person with power. Most will always lose control of their abilities at that time. And it will lead to a state of madness. Violent users in a state of madness. Violence. You will lose your intelligence and carry your strength. Danger. And the hero will be the one who appears and suppresses them. If anyone is interested in this topic, I can help. Enroll in an in-depth career training course. After listening, the new recruits chatted excitedly. Should we do such a dangerous task? It sounds like a pointless death. Lecturers are all too familiar with this scene. As I thought, there were no newcomers who volunteered to go. Not to mention this is a union. Not in condo or guardians. After a while of waiting, no one has any comments. Then the teacher decided to continue the lesson. At this moment, a hand suddenly raised up. Wait, can my group join? The lecturer was very surprised to see this. It's been a long time since he did. Just saw such an enthusiastic rookie. But other rookies reacted differently. Hey, are you crazy? Have you asked your group mate's opinion yet? Zu-won could only smile shyly at this moment. Then turned to ask Stylisto. I'm sure it will be okay. Everyone is talking about it. Scelo replied calmly. It's okay. But this will be difficult for newbies. But for someone with Jusk's power, it's as easy as pie. One can only believe in these words. Who knows for the rest of the class? He looked into the distance with wistful eyes. Think about the heroic life ahead. End of class. Zombie took One to the training site. This is Justice's training ground. Although Haste uses it too. So why do you want me to prepare this place? Zu-won immediately replied that it was because of the difference in strength. You see, when I beat Casa, I just use the power as I please. With all the battles and gratitude too. If the match continues, I will definitely lose. Scaliso is right. Up to now, I only know how to make money and then use it. But Ju-won's arm is now gradually changing. In a twisted way. Enveloping rays of energy. Take his hand as if you want to escape. Ju-won's mind is remembering the past. On her younger sister's birthday, she was 18 years old. His whole family held an outdoor party. That day, Ju-won gave it to his sister. A great birthday gift. By my own ability, he transformed into the appearance of the hero Applelut. The person his sister admires. Party atmosphere. Filled with joy and happiness. Then disaster struck. A giant criminal from nowhere. Fly to crush Yo Gold's parents into pulp. The criminal has a monstrous appearance. Looked towards the two brothers and then spoke. Found the hero. Ju-won's whole body was stiff and he didn't dare to move. Even though you're wearing the appearance of a hero. But in reality there is no fighting power at all. Right now we can only wait for death. But her sister's cry awakened Ju-won. He mustered all his courage and rushed towards the criminal. But just with one slap, Ju-won was sent flying into the wall and returned as before. He then could only helplessly look at his sister. Just had my head chewed off by a criminal. That scene has haunted Ju-won until now. That's the reason. He is determined to use Justice's power. The right way. Return to the present. Ju-won's arm now swells up. Because of the huge concentrated energy source. With just one punch, a series of walls ahead has collapsed into small pieces. Yumi witnessed this scene and was surprised. Not uttering a word. She didn't dare believe that. Ju-won has changed so much. For a short period of time. Meanwhile, in a secret place, a mysterious person is sitting and scratching the keys continuously. It seems he discovered a certain secret in the union. At this moment, a phone call came in, signaling that someone is coming here. The mysterious young man was extremely happy when he heard that. He stood up and walked to the nearby door. Where does he go? They all leave behind a sticky substance. He just opened the door. The whole space echoed with screams. This place is filled with monsters. Disgusting and bloodthirsty appearance. It seems like something bad is about to happen. The next day, group of 3 U1. Zombie and Siberto started their previous patrol mission. U1 is still not very calm about this action. But people with superpowers are in a violent state. Sounds dangerous. We will be okay. But Stylisto appeared extremely calm. We have Chomi and Justicey here, so why worry? Actually, it's because Chomi goes together. They just didn't send another veteran hero here. That was very risky, Yumi immediately wondered. Hung doesn't have 4 people in the group, right? So who is the 4th member? We cannot bully anyone. As soon as I mentioned it, that person appeared. Yet it is the famous Streamium Yumi. She seemed very happy. And get along with your teammates. But the zombies questioned the silicon immediately. Why did you bring a famous person? What the hell were you thinking? Silicon smiled and explained. I said union member. It's the same as famous people. What about Yumi? Yumi is also very good at representing the group. Especially when we need to hide our identities. Yumi heard about hiding her identity and was attracted. Ju-won saw this and was extremely worried that the plan would be revealed. But it seems like you're already worried. Yumi is as innocent as a fairy. I know. Everyone probably broadcasts on the internet, right? Got it. I was like that when I first started. It's a bit inconvenient to show your face publicly. After listening, the whole group suddenly felt strangely reassured. Then the whole team divided into 2 groups. To search in a wider range. U1 is looking forward to going with zombies. Then he was assigned to go with him. I am Eam. Ju-won immediately went to the stylist to comment why. What are you planning? Stylisto calmly explained. Do you still remember the lecturer's explanation about transformation? You still can't do that, right? His strength before and after changes. Huge difference. Yumi will support you on that. I'm sure. It will be easier for you. When observing and learning from someone like her. And if you still doubt me, Yumi can watch over you, right? Zu-won was extremely surprised after hearing these words. He didn't expect someone as harmless as Yumi helps him control his power. But Yumi, again, I immediately agreed to this team division plan. After that, the 2 groups split up and went searching around. On the way, Zu-won still couldn't help but wonder. Having trouble dividing teams. He kept looking towards Yumi, then rate her appearance online as being fatter. To turn away my attention on this matter. U1 asked about Om's ability. Yumi doesn't hide anything, but answered innocently. I can eat as much as I want, and then I will become healthier. What ability sounds so vague? U1 continued to ask Yumi the reason. Want to be a hero? Yumi answered while peeling the cake. Because I want to become a famous streamer. While eating everything I want. I'm promoting my stream. But this is not what Ju-won wanted to ask. Idea. The reason why you use your powers. Yumi. No need to think, just respond with nothing. We absolutely need a reason. After hearing this, Zu-won's head was full of question marks. Well, that grandfather said. She will help me use transformation. That did Lep Solito guy is probably making fun of me. Yumi immediately continued. Just think about what you want to do. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. These words helped Zu-won think a little more clearly. What I want to do. This simple-minded girl. Thinking clearly again. About her reason for using her power. More than me. At this moment Yumi discovered something. That seems like someone with superpowers. in a state of madness. The group's goal is to suppress these people before they get mad and cause damage, because it hasn't been discovered yet. So Ju-won plans to approach silently. But suddenly there was a noise behind him. Turns out that Yumizumi pulled out a bunch of numbers. She cried out and devoured it. When Ju-won saw this, he was extremely frightened. Dear God, are you using your brain? He immediately rushed forward and grabbed Yumi's wrist and told her to stop. But everything is too late. The two people were noticed by the monster. It rushed madly and tried to tear the body apart. Immediate goal. Yumi now turns on her transformation. All the food from earlier had turned into her strength. Yumi. Without fear, he rushed forward and kicked away. The monster went away. Turns out that Yumi will burn the calories you store to gain enormous power. That's why she doesn't get fat no matter how much she eats. Surely many of you hope to have this power. The monster knew he was no match, so there's no need to run away. Yumizumi saw that, then immediately chase after him, and tell Ju-won to contact the rest of the team. Just when Ju-won took out his phone, then a black puddle suddenly rushed forward, grabbed the phone. Ju-won didn't have time to understand what just happened. Then the mud puddle suddenly turned into a person. The computer called my accomplices and it's no longer usable. The phone was destroyed, making Ju-won a bit confused. We didn't even know there was anyone else here. Mentally, he is still stable. Probably not those crazy people. But priority must be given to Stylisto and zombies. Young-won didn't think much, but carelessly rushed to steal the phone. When he was about to give the phone thief a punch, then he turned into mud and was easily avoided. Just when Ju-won was distracted, he approached and stabbed him in the side with a knife. Ju-won immediately reacted. Then he swung his fist straight at the criminal's temple. Although it was hit, but he felt like his hand wasn't quite right. The criminal was punched in the head but still no problem. He completely despises Ju-won and only pay attention to the girl who just left. Ju-won was now holding his wound while questioning him. Older brother, what does it have to do with the violent people appearing here? No one knows if the criminal is laughing or joking. Sometimes I'm the one helping them. Turn desires into reality. It's okay to call him a teacher. You see, they are all immutable. So he'll just help out a little, so that they can change. After hearing this, Ju-won immediately got into a fighting stance. You didn't use your strength just now. Just because I don't want to hurt innocent people. But the crazy guy before his eyes. Certainly not innocent people. So maybe I don't have to be lenient with you anymore. The criminal then smiled sinisterly, then rushed to attack Ju-won. He turned his feet into mud and slid on the ground. When attacked by Ju-won, he turned his hand into mud and then penetrated his body. Ju-won's arm just touched. Then there was a pile of black mud. Unfortunately, he didn't have time to react. Then the criminal attacked again with countless mud bullets. The mud on his hand. At this point it becomes sticky, and it cannot be removed by force. The criminal saw that and laughed happily. You can't escape it, kid. My mud. Once it sticks, it will be tougher than rubber. If you try a little harder, you might be able to do something. I won't let you get away easily, he just said, while continuously shooting mud from his mouth towards Ju-won. Because the quantity is too much. So Ju-won couldn't avoid it all and got hit. He is now increasingly in danger. It becomes more and more difficult to move. If I leave it like this, I'll get into trouble. Must reach him. Ju-won immediately rushed forward to attack. Before it's too late. But the criminal was extremely calm. Rushing towards me regardless. You can't touch me at that distance, right? But your whole body is covered in mud. Are you sure it will be okay? Ju-won didn't pay attention to the provocation, but focus on attacking you. Put strength into your left arm. Still able to move and gave the criminal a punch. Like what the hell? The criminal was not in any pain, but he also showed a provocative face.
Encouragement.
Ju-won's arm is now stuck inside his body. The criminal couldn't move. The criminal took this opportunity to counterattack. He punched Ju-won repeatedly in the face to take revenge on him. You think if you get close, you'll win. Can't stand it anymore. Ju-won burst into power. Free yourself from the mud in your hands. Luckily, try to avoid this blow. Right now. A criminal with broken muscles suddenly appeared. Ju-won was now forced to retract the attack and use 2 hands to defend. Even so, he was still blown away quite far and was a bit stunned. Even though it looks like that. But he is still human at heart, right? That bastard made him like this. Even in dangerous situations. But Ju-won is always careful not to get hurt. People are innocent if they continue to be naive like this. Then you will have to eat bitter fruit in the future. The criminal now approached Ju-won and said, May is not funny at all. I already have a lot of kids like you, so there's no need to add you to the collection anymore. After hearing this, Ju-won was extremely surprised. He didn't expect that. There are many people who are turned into monsters like that. Hey, many other tall, black, foul monsters appeared and surrounded Ju-won. But the criminal is tired of Ju-won and intend to chase Omnium. He immediately ordered the monsters to deal with Ju-won. As soon as he finished speaking, the necklace was on his body. The monsters emitted huge voltage. Makes them extremely painful. Stimulated by pain, they madly rushed towards Ju-won. Ju-won this time, yet still worried about Yumi's safety. More than myself. This young man is truly a princess. Under siege by monsters. Ju-won was beaten repeatedly without being able to resist. You're nothing more than a punching bag for them to practice on. But the punches gradually helps Ju-won remove the mud from her body. Once all the sludge has been removed, that's when he counterattacked. Ju-won grabbed the monster's hand. The whole body is covered with tendons. Now is the time for you to let go of this anger. Finally all the mud fell out. I guess I should thank you. I still have to go to Yumi, so get the fuck out of here. The blue monster took a punch to the mouth. Then the teeth and lips mixed together flew away. Ju-gold then describes the right and left impulse alone weighing 4. But 2 hands are difficult to defeat 8 hands. These monsters, basically not knowing pain or fear. Ju-won just punched one away. Then the remaining 3 children blocked it. The one that was punched and flew away quickly came back and continued to fight each other. After a while, Ju-won continued to passively endure the beating. Even though Ru-won tried to be lenient. Because after all, these people are still people. But it seems like if it continues, then the bad guy will be you. In the meantime, Yumi was going well. Defeat the monster she chased. Phew, I'm so proud of what I did today. They'll have to tell it again when I go on stream. But I guess I'm a rookie, which live-streamed the mission. That's not very good, right? Not to mention that new guy. Still not comfortable enough to show my face anymore. But why hasn't anyone come here yet? So late. Right now. The criminal who had just fought with Ju-won was chased away. Thank you for your hard work. I can't believe she caught it. You're great too. When Yumi asked who he was, he smiled happily. I'm also a rookie hero who joined recently. We're aiming. I entered this guy, but she was already above me. After listening, Yumi put her hands on her hips proudly. This girl is so naive. Everyone believes whatever they say. The criminal now speaks more importantly. Do you know someone with black hair over there? He seemed to be calling out to his teammates. I think he said that as I passed by. After listening, Yumi concentrated and thought. And the criminal. Then he glanced at the monster's body on the ground. I didn't expect it to lose like that. Have I rated it too highly? Or that stupid little girl? At this moment, Yumi asked, Excuse me, may I ask which group you are a member of? Look from the outfit. He doesn't come from Guardians or Uberman. Looks, he has no interest in destroying evil people. So you are not Anko's person either. The criminal immediately laughed and said, I belong to that union. She doesn't remember me anymore. But Yumi immediately denied it. Not everyone in my union remembers everything. Because I remember everyone is the basic requirement of a streamer. I heard that for sure. All new recruits must attend OT day. But he didn't have it. Being there, I found it a bit strange. Looks Yumi. Not as innocent as it seems. Which is quite quick. The criminal was exposed and decided to take action. I tried to tease her a bit. Because she has a face that suits my style. But this is equally interesting. Should I add her to my collection? But he didn't have time to touch Yumi. Her arm was blown away by her. Yumi did not relax her guard, which immediately entered combat mode. Voluntary touching like that. Just like an obsessive crazy fan. Do you know? His actions are very suspicious. I was ready to leave as soon as I digested everything. But maybe it's time to go on a diet. The criminal was quite surprised. Before the power of this petite girl. His hand was even blown flat. Press against the far wall. Looks like he has to take this fight seriously. Return to Ju-won's side. The bitter battle is still going on. Ju-won still hasn't given up hope. And wanted to awaken the monsters using physical methods. Wake up, that bastard is taking advantage of you guys. But the only answer he received was, I'm just hungry. It seems. The intelligence of these monsters is 0. And they just act like zombies. In a moment of carelessness, Ju-won was caught by a monster. But now that I know that, these guys are just mindless monsters, then you can go straight. Ju-won's whole body exploded at this moment. Huge power. Makes even the monsters tremble in fear. I really wanted to try this in real combat. But its use must be avoided. In front of that young Mudman. However, I think this is still great. Now I can beat you guys. But there's no need to restrain yourself. Ju-won's whole body radiates blue energy. Along with intense lightning. It's the yellow-colored young man again. Want to rush forward and attack in the vanguard. Young-won only used one hand to block its fist. And lifted this guy up high. This aboriginal guy seems very shocked. You are really strong. Ju-won intentionally squeezed his hand. But I won't lose in a comparison of strength. The native was squeezed until he screamed. He was in so much pain that his vision was blurred. Ju-won threw it away like trash. The yellow-skinned guy flew right into the place where the brown-skinned guy was trailing. Teammates are both poor so they don't have to waste their time. There's been a lot of fighting, but I'm already very tired. The effort spent practicing was not wasted. Ju-won looked at his hand and exclaimed, looking at the 2 violent people I just killed. Ju-won couldn't help but remember the conversation with the zombie. And Scelo before we all separated. I want to know, can a violent person become a human again? Yes, they were originally people from before, right? Can't return to the same human form. Those people are just monsters. Scelo answered right away. Never before has a violent person turned back into a human being. They are monsters. Only know about violence and stabbings. No different from evil. He laughed again. It would be better if you let them return to heaven immediately. Because they are just like me. I won't be lenient with you. Now that I think back, I see. Is it quick to just follow Suberto's instructions? Doing this back and forth takes a terrible amount of time. The Mudman acted as if he had been transformed. This kind of thing is still not enough. He even took advantage of you guys, so maybe you guys felt unfair, right? I will quickly end this for you guys. On the other side of the am still chatting with the Mudman. I saw Ju-won and I didn't do anything to him. The Mudman shrugged. Talk as if this has nothing to do with you. Well, who knows? I think he has become a meal for monsters. He looked at I am again in a dazed manner. But my sister is different. What a unique superpower. It would be great to get her back.